What's going on? It is Adam. Welcome back to Bringing It Backwards, a podcast where both legendary and rising artists tell their own personal stories of how they achieved stardom. On this episode, we had a chance to hang out with Joe of ArmNHMR. Joe talks about being born and raised just outside Long Beach in Southern California and how he got into music. Started playing trumpet around 14 years old, joined the school band, played in the school band, marching band through high school. Also picked up guitar around the same time. He actually grew up as a scene kid, going to like Chain Reaction and different hardcore shows around Southern California. It wasn't until he was in college that he got introduced to EDM music. He went to his first EDM show and he was absolutely hooked, went home and started to try to write songs via his computer. Around the same time is where he met Joseph Chung, the other half to ArmNHMR, and they started writing music together. Joe talks to us about the first big success they had, having the opportunity to remix a song for Chainsmokers, then opening up for the Chainsmokers at a massive venue in Nashville, and the doors that opened for him. He also talks to us about writing this new record and how it was different than previous albums in the sense that he wasn't able to, like they weren't able to test the songs in a live setting. It was more done over a live stream. We also hear about them selling out the House of Blues Anaheim, and I was just curious because if you've ever been to the House of Blues in Anaheim, every artist that has sold it out gets their own skateboard deck, and they're all over the venue. And ArmNHMR got a skateboard deck. I thought that was so rad. And we chat all about the new record, Waiting for Love. Make sure to check out our past episodes. We've got video interviews with a ton of artists that are all up on our YouTube channel and Facebook page at Bringing It Backwards. It'd be amazing if you like us there. Subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Bringing Back Pod. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music or Google Podcasts, it would be amazing if you could follow us there and hook us up with a 5-star review as well.
We'd appreciate your support if you follow and subscribe to our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're Bringing It Backwards with ArmNHMR. I'm Adam, by the way, and this podcast is about you and your journey in music and obviously forming ArmNHMR and everything you guys have going on as far as the new record coming out.
Yep, perfect.
Sweet. First off, where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in SoCal. I was born in Long Beach, but I grew up in Cerritos, and it's a suburb in Southern California. I don't think most people know it, but it's right by Long Beach.
Yeah, I do, just because I'm from San Diego.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, I always say Long Beach. Just people whenever I say Cerritos, it's a very small suburb.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'm not in Southern California anymore. My family and I moved to Nashville about a little over a year ago now. But yeah, I was
How's the weather out there?
Actually, today it's beautiful. It's like 70 degrees and clear and sunny, but literally the last beautiful few months, it's just been freezing and rainy, and then it snowed, and then it was rainy. And obviously, you know, as a California kid, this is all new to me.
Our bodies can't take anything less than 60.
Yeah,
I feel like every degree under 60 is just it cuts a little deeper.
It's just torture.
From California, it's torture. Yeah,
right.
we've been running our East Coast tour shows, and I've been out there I just flew back maybe 2 days ago, but I've been out there for like 3 weeks, and it was consistently like 7-8 degrees.
Oh man, so I know.
I'm so happy to be back here. It's like 80 degrees right now.
Oh, that's amazing. I know, it was freezing here, and when they showed the Super Bowl being in LA, I'm like, it was like 80. I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed that.
You pay for the weather, pretty much.
Oh, dude, yeah, you do. You definitely do. Well, that's awesome. So you're from Southern California. What was it like growing up? To those of the people listening that are not from Southern California, what was it like growing up in the Long Beach area?
I mean, I guess I don't know what a typical suburb life in California would be, but never really left the county lines.
Okay.
And just, enjoyed the beach. My old stomping grounds was Huntington Beach. Used to hang out there a lot as a kid. I used to go to shows all the time. There's a few really historic, like all ages venues, like some people might know it, like the Chain Reaction, which closed down recently.
Did it really? I didn't know
House
that.
of Blues.
Chain Reaction
closed down after. I believe so. I don't know if they reopened up, but I remember it closed, and it was like a hard day for SoCal natives.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Oh, please. I hope I'm not wrong, but I believe so.
It might be. I mean, I mean, again, I haven't. I just like I just remember that being such a great venue, and so many. I mean, especially in the like hardcore emo world, all those bands would come through Chain Reaction.
That's how I grew up. I was a hardcore scene kid. I didn't know about EDM until maybe I was in college. So
really,
yeah, that was yeah.
That was the world I lived in too, man.
Yeah. I feel like we all, most DJs I talked to were at least, a good percentage of them were post ex-hardcore kids who found EDM.
Interesting to me. Yeah. Well, I wonder what the correlation there is. Do you have any, I mean, being a DJ and coming from that world, like is there similarities there that I'm missing, or like, how did that all kind of,
I think it's because you didn't need a band. Maybe that's why, at least for me, that's why. I mean, when I found EDM, I was like, man, I could do all this without like a drummer, without a bassist, without a keyboard player. Like I can just do it all on the computer. And maybe, I'm sure a lot of us had dreams of being in bands, and it just didn't work out because you need everyone to kind of be on the same page. So EDM was kind of a nice fit because you could kind of just maybe not share creative control, not in a bad way. Like,
Right. No, but you don't have to count on like four other people being willing to really push something that's may not be in their dream, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just speaking for myself, but I'm assuming that's kind of the case. Like a lot of ex-musicians and bands just kind of turn to electronic music.
Yeah, I remember. I come from radio, and I was working on an alternative radio station in San Francisco in like 2010, it must have been. And we were out at Outside Lands, and Deadmau5 was headlining one of the stages. And I remember a guy I was working with, he interviewed Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee was just there. I guess he's really good friends, or was really good friends with Deadmau5. And he said something about like he asked him about electronic music, and Tommy Lee said, EDM and electronic music is the new punk rock. And I'm like, and I didn't understand what that meant, but now it's like, we're 10, 11 years later. It totally makes sense. Like how much that scene
modern day rock stars.
Yeah. How it blew up. Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really wild.
I like to think maybe on that note, I guess what's the cool thing about maybe EDM? It's so new that us who are in it now are kind of pioneering a genre. Maybe back then the punk rock days, kind of similar.
Right. I think that's what he meant. Yeah. There was just like this new sound and this new thing that was happening. And it was just kind of, it was evolving. And now it's massive, right?
It is what it is now.
Yeah. Exactly. It's crazy, I think. Well, so tell me about how did you get into music? I mean, obviously we talked about how you're into hardcore and you're a scene kid, but prior to that, were you like, what was your introduction into music?
Well, actually, me and Joe, we grew up kind of in athletics and sports, but I kind of wasn't coordinated really to excel in sports, but I loved sports. So initially I had joined marching band just so I can follow my school's football team and basketball team so my introduction to music was that. I played trumpet, kind of learned music theory there. At like freshman year of high school, and kind of fell in love with it.
Did you join the school band? Like, did you do band like prior to being
I had the whole
in high school?
the ensemble and everything. Yeah.
When did you start playing trumpet?
Other than that, 14 years old.
Oh, so you were in high school when you started.
Soon after.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you picked up guitar.
And I picked up guitar and that was to me that was much cooler than trumpet.
But you carried on with the trumpet. It sounds like you did that all the way through high school.
I mean, I could play. I don't know if I can play it anymore, but yeah, I carried on through all high school, and that was like the starting point that led me to different instruments, and found out I had a knack for it.
Sure. With guitar, were you ever in a band? Like being in the scene world of in that kind of space, were you in a band at all?
Oh yeah, I was in a few, and never. I mean, I don't think we were anything exceptional. We were just doing, battle the bands and no shows or anything. But it was like the infancy period where I was learning how to write music and like working with other people.
Uh-huh.
It was a dream, but no, I didn't get anywhere, unfortunately. But fortunately, I guess it ended up to this.
Right, I was gonna say it did. Well, it landed you here.
Yeah, so I can't complain at all.
Right. Well, so did you say you got into electronic music when you made it into college?
Yeah, I'm 32 years old, or 33 right now. But so my first introduction to EDM I was in college, 2009 EDC at the Coliseum.
Okay.
In LA. That was like my first introduction. I remember walking to the main stage, and the first person I heard was Cascade. I didn't know who Cascade was, and I walked in. I just saw everyone kind of just watching this one guy on the DJ deck, and it just kind of hit me. I was like, wow, this everyone's just one guy. He's making this on a computer, and then I think after that I fell in love. I think the only thing I knew of EDM was Daft Punk. I mean, I felt like that was a lot of people's introductions to EDM, dance music in general. But yeah, so other than that, and then Deadmau5 closed the night in Swedish House Mafia.
Wow.
And I was sold after that. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah. With when you were going, where were you going to college, and were you going for music at all, or is it totally different?
No, I went to Cal Poly Pomona.
Okay. My sister went there.
School and engineering school. Oh, I mean, it's a very definitely not music eccentric school.
No, not at all.
I went there for engineering.
My sister went there. That's cool.
Yeah, it didn't work out, but I mean, engineering. I definitely am not a numbers person, but at the time, it seemed like a very valuable career choice. But I'm glad I kind of didn't. It would have been really stressful for me.
Sure. So you're going to Cal Poly, and and then you end up getting, go to the CDM show. And when you get home, like, where does it go? Okay, I need to get like a program. Like, how did you even start in this world?
I used to work like way back in the day with a guy who went by the name Photic, and he taught me how to make music. So we were kind of just doing something, in his living room. We're making tunes, and then kind of didn't work out. So that actually was what led me to meeting the other Joe, because afterwards I had music experience, and he wanted to learn how to write music. And we had known each other from just having mutual friends who would meet each other at festivals. We were both, into the EDM community. So we were going general admission to everywhere in Southern California. So from then on, he asked if I could teach him. I taught him. It didn't work out for a little bit. 8 months went by, or a year went by, and then he sent me something, and I was like, "Wow, this has potential. It's pretty sick. We should work on something like together." So I guess that's how ArmNHMR was born. And then
Wow. Okay, so it just kind of started with a mutual friendship, and then you attempted to write some songs together. It didn't really work out, and then months later, he sent you this song, and it was like, oh, this is something really cool. Let's work on this. And then the ball just kept rolling from there.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, it wasn't that long, but I was doing my own solo project, and then we had a stride with making music. I think the hardest part about creative control, or just sharing creative control is that, you need the person you're working with to be on the same page, inspiration wise. And so it clicked. We both had the same vibe, and we just kept doing it.
When did you start? What was the moment that it kind of elevated for you? Like, was there a song that you put out and stuff started happening, or how did your career kind of build from that initial song that you guys wrote?
No, there wasn't just one song. I don't think we ever had. We've had songs that stood the test of time, but it was just constant. Just kind of, we put out probably a good maybe 20 songs before we even landed anything that was remotely successful. So we were just pumped. We got into the stride of just kind of working on music, pumping it out, and then trying to find our sound. So I think maybe by after the third or fourth year we were doing it, we kind of developed the sound of ourselves, and then it matured, I guess, over after that. But yeah, me and Joe, we've been doing it before. I guess the turning point would be when the Chainsmokers had recognized what we were doing and really went out of their way to help us out. But that wasn't until 4 years after we started, 4 or 5 years after.
Oh, okay. So prior to that happening, it was just, were you guys playing locally at all, or is it mainly just writing songs together and putting them up on SoundCloud or online or anything?
Yeah, well, it was mainly SoundCloud, but we were playing local shows. We're opening up for, our main venue was at the time, it was a club called Sutra Nightclub in Orange County. And we were lucky enough that there were a few big names that came out of there that really helped us out, like Slander. That was, they're really a big turning point for us. So they really helped us out. We were good friends with them. They're the main Orange County kind of DJs that were coming up at the time. And they really, they just went out of their way and they helped us out too. So we definitely give credit to everyone who's boosted our careers over the years.
How did Slander help you guys?
Oh, before we started music, they were already, going full force at it. They just gave us tips. Scott and Derek were just so helpful with just kind of, teaching us lessons they've learned, over the years before us. And they're still pioneering the road for us today. So
amazing.
It came full circle.
That is so cool. And tell me about the thing with the Chainsmokers.
Oh, I think we had came out with a song, Want You. And they had initially, I think it caught their ear. At that time, Roses, I think, was coming out, that whole, that new direction they were going, which would arguably, I would say, kind of, spearheaded a lot of the modern day feature-based, melodic-based sound of today. And I guess they dug it, so they gave us the opportunity to remix one of their songs, and I think that's what caught on. And the song was Inside Out, and arguably, I think that's the song that kind of launched our career as ArmNHMR.
Wow. Okay, so once that happened, it was they obviously had a huge, fan base at this point, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we definitely wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for their help.
And then they helped you, and then they allowed you guys to remix the song. And how does that? Did they just come to you and say, "Hey, could you? We got this record, and we wanted to know if you could put your own spin on it." Is that kind of the conversation? How does that work with remixing songs?
Yeah. We messaged Alex Paul. He gave us the opportunity, and then we just ran with it, and it was just an opportunity. We were luckily enough, we were at least a couple years into our music production experience. So I think luck is when opportunity meets preparation, and we had the skill set, and then they sent us the stems, and I think it just took off from there. They also offered us our first big show. They played the Municipal Amphitheater, I think, in Nashville. That was called the Municipal Amphitheater.
Yeah, you played a. Oh, okay. Dude, I'm so new. I don't know all the venues here. I feel bad not being able to be like, yeah, it's that.
it was so long ago. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they gave it. Before then, we were just playing side rooms, opening up for acts at a 300 max person club. And they gave us our first like huge show. It was like 12,000 person seated stadium, and then
that's crazy.
We had our one chance to play a set. And then I think after that, it caught on. We gained a huge following after that, and then it snowballed from there.
So you did the one show with them, and what was it like? Like, I mean, you go into the show, and then it's like you get off stage, or the night wraps up, and is it what, like your social media blows up, your streaming blows up? Like how does it like correlate as far as that goes? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, I mean, from going, playing small clubs, you probably maybe every show you maybe get like 5 to 10 new followers, and then I think afterwards we played, and then our social media we just started gaining followers. People discovered our music. Luckily, like I said, we had like a vault of music already, so it wasn't. I think that was just the kind of the open door that allowed people to discover who ArmNHMR was.
Okay.
But prior to that, I mean, we were both. That was the biggest show we've ever played. Like prior to that, and we were. Pardon my language, shitting bricks.
You're allowed to cuss.
It was a very nerve-wracking time.
I was gonna say, take me through that. You get this show, and then you have to fly out to Nashville to play, and
Well,
you
first,
get there.
like, real out-of-state show. We get there. We're just sitting nervously in our green room. Funny story. It was Halloween weekend, and the Chainsmokers guys were dressed as Kiss.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think Alex was Gene Simmons. He pulls up into our green room, and he's like, "What's up, guys?" And he has the full face mask or face paint and everything. This tall guy, I'm like, and me and Joe just couldn't recognize him at first. It's like, "Hey, it's Alex." And then from there, it was like that really lightened the mood for us. Just they're in their ridiculous. I mean, not ridiculous, but like
obviously, right?
Suit.
Yeah, full Kiss.
You can just imagine the face paint with the wig, and it just like really lightened the mood for us when we were treating it way too seriously, I think.
That's funny. And then so you get on stage.
It's a big shit.
Yeah, you get on stage, and what's that like? You're like, oh god, you're like what'd you say, 12,000 or 17,000 people? Like that's so many people.
It's so I think it was a blur. For one thing, I think not because we were drinking or anything, but
no, obviously,
just,
just like whoa,
so overwhelming.
Yeah, of course. Wow, that's insane. That's so cool. The two Chainsmokers comments I have, or one is I met them one time, and it was when I used to work on the radio. Like I said earlier, I worked at a station. At this time was in San Diego, and I was on the alternative station, but we had a top 40 station in our building. And I didn't know, like, it was when they had that selfie song, #selfie came out. And like I didn't know who they were. I mean, they didn't have like a huge following at all, at any means. And like the guy that did the afternoon DJ there was like, he's like, I'm going to go grab this artist I'm going to interview. I'm like, who is it? And he's like, they're called the Chainsmokers. I'm like, oh, that's rad. And then he told me that, like, I know the song because they were playing it like very little. I mean, they weren't getting a whole lot of airplay at all at the time. And then like it was insane because, not even a year later, they were like the biggest artist on the planet.
I know, man.
Yeah, it was
too. Those guys work so hard.
Yeah, it was just crazy. I was like, whoa. And then, Justin Crusoe, he's also DJ.
Yeah.
I interviewed him a while ago, and he told me that the Chainsmokers I don't know if this is, 2 or 3 years ago, but I don't know if this is true or it sounded pretty insane that they actually will open and read all of their emails. If you send them something, they'll literally open it and read it or respond. Like, I thought that was so cool.
Oh, I mean, I believe that. I can only speak from ourselves, but we were no ones and they responded to us. So I
just
can
think that's
definitely
so
vouch
rad.
for that.
That's so rad. Do you, I mean, I would imagine that's something that you guys probably do as well, right? You like, if somebody were to reach out, do you offer advice down to the up and comers?
Yeah, we definitely try to. A lot of the singers and artists we work with are really talented up and comers, and I think the same way they did it with us and the Slander guys, we try to pay it forward and you know, build talent we think like are amazing. So the same way, hopefully they thought of us the same way.
Right.
But, I think paying it forward as an artist is very important to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, the people that you have on your records are some of them are so talented that I didn't recognize or know who they were until I was listening to your records. I was like, oh wow, like especially the new one with RUNN. I didn't know who she was until I listened to that record, and I'm like, whoa, like this is an incredible vocalist.
Yeah, I mean, there's way too many talented people, in music. I think the hardest part is just finding a little, a nice spot for you in it.
Right.
But there are just way too many amazing people out there.
When it came to this new record, well, you put a record out in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm. 1,000 Dreams.
Yeah.
We had done that with Dimat.
Okay. And what was it like? I mean, leading into 2020, like in 2019, like what was the plan, and how was it affected by, obviously it was, I'm sure, affected by what ended up happening in March with the pandemic.
No, yeah. I mean, it was kind of a rough time. I can't speak for all artists, but I know definitely a weird time because a lot of, I guess, DJs, a lot of our inspiration comes from testing out music live. I think that's the appeal of, I guess, with EDM is that when you go out to a show, you get to hear unreleased things. You get to hear IDs of, your favorite DJs. And a lot of the time we use that as kind of feedback. Mm-hmm. So we're writing. So during the pandemic, we were the last industry to come back. I think live entertainment, live music.
Yeah.
So it was really rough just trying to, I wouldn't say, just trying to find inspiration, because a lot of it comes from how it's received from our fans and just the people who come out to our shows. So we were just writing. Luckily, we had a live stream show called Infinite Skies with Insomniac, and shout out to Insomniac. They gave us a platform to do that via live stream, but I can only imagine just for all artists in general, it was a pretty rough time.
Right. But you were able to at least use that platform to kind of test songs that you hadn't quite released yet? Or is that what you were able to use that as like a focus group type deal?
Kind of, yeah. And then eventually that's what our 1,000 Dreams and now our new album that's coming out this Friday, actually, Waiting for Love. A lot of that process was just, we were playing it on the live streams. You might be able to catch like the really early stages of some of these songs. But then here we are now, a couple, months. I mean, I won't say that, knock on wood, a couple of months after the COVID and everything.
Right.
So,
and the record's coming out Friday. That's exciting. Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, all I can say, it was a rough time.
Yeah. But to be able to at least have that, outlet to be able to still kind of do what you were doing as far as testing songs out, to seeing how your fans and people were reacting to it. I mean, it's obviously not the same setting where you can tell right in front of you people are going crazy to it or they're not moving at all because it's all through, obviously a computer screen. But at least you had that, right? I mean, it must have been difficult, but you can kind of gauge a little bit of what the response is from the songs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I would argue, it was a rough. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead.
It was. I would argue. I guess it gave us a platform too. We kind of benefited from the pandemic, only because since there were no shows, it allowed, I think, a lot of people who had time to listen to music to really discover new music. Mm-hmm. Because I think most people were probably just at home working out or, cleaning, having music blasting. So it was for underground music, I think it was a really good time for discovery.
Sure. I completely agree with that. And with that though, like, were you able to, like, when it comes to collaborating with artists, especially on this new project, was that all done virtually? And had you ever worked that way before?
Yeah. A lot of the singers we work with sometimes they're not California native or local. So we've kind of gotten used to, we hop on FaceTime calls, and you kind of just work remotely. And a lot of our songwriting process is pretty organic. We don't try to rush things. So a lot of the songs that you're hearing now were written like a year ago, but we were just kind of waiting for the right opportunity or if it fit a big body of work. But yeah, a lot of the songs from their album right now were written during the pandemic.
Okay, that's interesting. With the record and the tour, you guys are doing a tour. I'm curious because you did a sold out show at the House of Blues in Anaheim, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
House of Blues.
I don't know. Do they do this for every artist that sells it out? Do you get a skateboard deck?
Oh yeah, actually, I don't think anyone can see it, but it's in the back area of the green rooms and stuff of House of Blues Anaheim. Anyone who sold out a show has a custom skateboard deck just made for, and there was so many amazing artists, ASAP Ferg, Linkin Park. There's in the back, and you see all these skateboards just kind of lined up. So it was a big moment, at least for being from California, and to be able to sell out the House of Blues and have our skateboard added up there. I wish people could see it because it's amazing. Yeah, everyone has their own skateboard, like in the back.
Yeah, because they're all over. I mean, they also, when you're going in, I mean, maybe you have to have a certain access to like that top level. Like when you come into the venue and like where the merch tables are kind of set up, they're like kind of surround. I mean, there's a bunch of them up there, but there's been so many artists, I'm sure, that have sold it out that they can't present all of them out there. But I was wondering like that. So it is for every. So that's so cool that you guys got a skateboard deck in there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, part of history now.
Yeah, that's so rad. That is so rad.
I might even just put some wheels on that. Try to roll.
Did they give you guys? Did they give you guys a skateboard deck? Did they give the band a skateboard deck as well?
Yeah, wow. my whole team got one.
That
I'm actually looking at one of them right now.
Oh, you are? Because I didn't like. You don't have anything. You don't have them up on your Instagram, do you? Or maybe I just didn't see it.
No, we haven't put it up, but every single one of my team members, my manager, my tour manager, the other Joe, we all have it kind of hung up on our room.
That's so cool. Yeah, I was wondering because I knew that they did that, and I was like, I wonder if they don't like. I didn't know if there was something other than I knew you had to sell it out, but I didn't know if they like made you jump through like one more hoop or something. And that's so cool to hear that. We sold it out. We sold out the big room. They gave us a skateboard deck. Like that's the coolest thing and the coolest like way to, I think, repay bands. I think that's such a rad idea.
And we played the House of Blues before, but we didn't sell it out. So we were kind of bummed because this was during our Free World tour.
Okay.
The first album we came out with Dimac, and then we were just short of selling it out, and we were kind of bummed. So the second time we came back for the start of this tour, the first thing we asked was, "Where's our skateboard?" Because we had, luckily, I mean, LA is our hometown. Yeah, we were blessed enough to have it sold out before. So that's the first thing we asked, like, "Where's your skateboard, please?"
That's so cool. That's so cool that you guys got it. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I love your merch. You have the coolest, like, honestly, like some of the coolest merch I've ever seen from any artist.
Well, I appreciate it. We try our best.
Yeah, it's like like I love the baseball jersey shirts are so sick, and then that mustard yellow T-shirt is so rad too. I mean, the logos and everything that you guys have done is so like the graphics, everything. It's really, really impressive.
Thank you. we like going a little loud with our colors. So
which I love. I think that's so awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it looks great, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this interview. Thank you so much for doing this.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I got one more quick question for you, Joe, before I let you go. If I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
I guess the only thing I could say is stick it through. I think a lot of our colleagues that we've known throughout the years, we've seen so many talented, really, really talented artists kind of fall through the cracks. It just, the music industry is a really hard industry in the sense that, a lot of what the art that's created is kind of tied into the person themselves, and it's easy to get yourself down when you think the reflection of your art is a reflection of you. So I would just say to all up and coming aspiring music makers or engineers or anything you want to do in the creative field, just stick it through. Eventually you'll be recognized for what you have to offer.
Bringing it backwards.